All right, we will kick it off. Welcome to Auto Club Speedway. Great to be here for the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series Auto Club 400 weekend. We'll kick it off with a very special guest and the appropriate person to kick this off, Jimmie Johnson, 7-time Monster Energy Series champion, all-time wins leader at Auto Club Speedway, driver of the number 48 Lowe Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports. What's it like being home at a track that you're so successful at?
It's fun to be back home. After Phoenix, we flew to San Diego and kind of started a little West Coast family trip, heading up the coastline and hit Legoland and the San Diego Safari Zoo and just various places. So it's been fun. I took my kids out to El Cajon and showed them where I grew up. And granted, Lydia's 3 and probably never remember it, but it was just fun to kind of be back home, show my family around. My oldest has been there to my hometown, but my youngest, it's our first real trip through there. So, I don't know, just fun to go back and see the spots and places and even talk to a few old friends, and then to come to this racetrack where I won my first event. I guess that photo's right there to remind me of it, which is pretty cool. It's just fun to be back. I really enjoy racing here. We've all watched this track age and turn into a facility that puts on one heck of a show. So I'm excited to be back.
Great. Thank you, Jimmie. We'll open it up to questions. Please raise your hand, state your name and affiliation. We'll kick it off with Jerry in the middle there, and then we'll go to Holly and Wolfgang.
Jerry Jordan, Performance Racing Network and KickingTheTires.net. Have you guys, people are questioning your performance this year. Are you at a point where you could get that 7th win here and get it back-to-back, do you think, for the team?
16 years, 80 wins, and 7 championships, and people want to question us? I mean, come on. You can't, I know it's not you. You can't be on top forever. I think that, we do have some work to do, especially on the short run. We haven't executed as cleanly as we need to. Daytona, we're running 2nd or 3rd and get crashed. Last week, we were a good top 5, maybe top 3 car in the long run, but finished with some short restarts, and that was our weak point. So, yeah, sure, absolutely, we have work to do, but nobody should panic.
Holly?
Holly Kane, NASCAR.com. Hi, Jimmie.
Hi.
I wanted to go back and ask you a little bit about the first win. And did it feel extremely appropriate that it would be here in California that you would get your first win? And just kind of your thoughts when you look back at it. It was a big deal for you and a big deal for the state and the Speedway as well.
Yeah, I mean, if any driver could script their first win in the circumstances, I think they would choose a path similar to what I went through. I think it was my 13th start ever in the Cup Series, 10th start of that season, winning my home track. You couldn't script it any better. And when I look back, I'm still amazed that it turned out that way. I'm still amazed that it's turned out how it has to start with. And when I go back mentally to that point in my life, I just wanted to win a race. And I've said it many times, and I'm very serious about this. With Jeff winning the championship the year before, and they gave me his inventory of cars and equipment, I felt like I had to win, deep down in my heart. I felt like Lowe's signed up because they felt that I could win. So there was this pressure. Granted, it was early in the year, but standing there, climbing out of that car, and the minutes that followed that, the relief that came off my shoulders knowing that I could win. And I'd only won 1 Busch race prior to that. And all the conversation then was, what the heck is Jeff Gordon and Rick Hendrick thinking? Who is this guy? So I was very relieved, and that triple chin smile is more about the relief of this pressure that I'd put on myself to win, and I was able to do it very early at my home track.
Wolfgang?
Jimmie, Wolfgang from Germany. Last weekend in Phoenix, we had a race under very hot conditions. Hopefully it will be not so hot here. How do you personally train or prepare for hot races at the West Coast? And how difficult is it to stay concentrating in the cockpit when it's so hot?
Yeah, I think that the hot tracks, hot races, add a whole different element of, from a competition standpoint, car setup standpoint, obviously the driver's fitness, it just really puts us in a tough situation, which I personally enjoy that challenge. I felt great after the race, and it's always tough to have your first hot race of the year. Especially from my standpoint, I've been up in the mountains in Colorado, a hot day has been in the 50s. So to go from that to a 130 plus cockpit temp, you know, I focused really hard on my hydration. My fitness was pretty, it's in okay shape from being in the mountains and as active as I've been all winter, I should say. But hydration's really, you know, the key thing with that. So the years of experience, the relationship with Gatorade and understanding my sweat rate, what's in my sweat. I know it sounds kind of gross and interesting, but there's a lot of important data there to help you understand what to ingest. And my guys do a good job of keeping me cool in the car too. So it was a nice little wake-up call that, hey, you know, it's really hot in this environment and need to be ready for the summer.
Do you have, like European drivers, a drink bottle in your car when you drive in the heat conditions?
Yeah, for us, we use the Gatorade in-car drinking system, and it's under the seat in my car, and it holds 120 ounces. So I have a lot of fluid there to drink through the course of the day, and then when that runs out, they can hand me bottles in through the window on a pit stop.
Okay, where are the mics? All right, so we'll go here, and then Bob, Chris, and Brant.
Rich Culbreth, Motor Racing Network. Next week we go to Martinsville. 10 years ago, you and Jeff Gordon had an epic battle for the win in that one. What do you remember about that race?
It's one of the highlights of my career. I'm not sure Jeff sees it the same way because he finished second, but for me growing up as a Jeff Gordon fan and knowing his success at Martinsville, and then my early starts and years at Martinsville were just so painful. To have that duel to the finish is just something every driver wants. So I'm thankful for the bumpers at that point. We're pretty much in line, because if it was the old Monte Carlo style vehicle, I think I would have been in the turn 4 wall with all the contact that we had. But there's no better way to finish a race than side by side, door to door.
Jim Alexander from the Southern California News Group. Jimmie, as you might be aware, it's been kind of a rough patch for sports in San Diego over the last few months or so. Do you kind of feel that you're carrying the banner for your hometown in some way?
It's hard for me to say, not being in town. I don't have a great pulse on the impact of the Chargers leaving and various current events that take place. Of course, I see it in the news and think of home, and I have so much pride for my years here, and very proud every time I step across that stage, even if it's mispronounced. I hear that I'm from El Cajon, California. So I take a lot of pride in that, and when I do come home and I am around, I can sense and feel the pride that people have for me. And then the championships I've been able to bring to the city. So on my end, yeah, absolutely. I'm very proud to have been and hope to continue to provide St. Diegans with a big smile on a Sunday afternoon. But I'm a little out of touch with all that's going on, currently.
Bob?
Bob Pockris, ESPN. I thought maybe being close to home, you might announce a contract extension this week. Where are you guys at, and should we expect something soon?
Yeah, that's a good question. We're always talking and working on the details. We don't have anything ready yet, but I'm sure we'll announce before long. As you can tell, I'm not overly concerned. I feel very confident we'll get something put together with Lowe's as our primary sponsor, and Hendrick's my home, so I'm not worried about where that stuff will actually be executed, and what point of the season will be executed, but I know it'll happen soon.
Jonathan?
Jimmie, Jonathan Merriman, NASCAR.com. With being here and having the trip with your daughters fresh in your mind, a guy with 7 titles has all the right in the world to proclaim to be the best, this, that, and the other. How does your upbringing and being back home kind of refresh your humility a little bit in what you've been able to accomplish in this sport?
Yeah, I think just seeing, obviously with my situation today and the way we travel and great place we live in Charlotte, and just the means that I have now and the lifestyle I've been able to create, it's so different. And as a parent, I know that I want my kids to appreciate what they have and work hard for the world they want to create for themselves. And my kids are starting a heck of a lot better off than I did from that perspective. I grew up in a house full of love and understanding and highly motivated parents that pushed me to chase my dreams, and I want to give that to my children as well, obviously. But to take them back and show them the street I played on, and I even saw some old bicycle jumps that are kind of eroded away now on the side of the road up in Crest where I grew up. It's just, and they're young, but I feel like they need to see that, and to hear my daughter's, Genevieve's comments about, you know, the house and how small it was and things like that. It's like, yep, that's why we're here. So certainly from their standpoint, it was great to show them around, but for me, it's just such a nice reminder to go back. I do shake my head and find it hard to believe that's where I came from and that I made it to where I am. But more than anything, the memories, and it's just wild how the old memories and stories come up, and I just pepper my wife with these stories. She's like, yeah, I've heard that 15 times, and you know, that one 20 times. So it's just fun to open up those memory banks, or the memory bank, and experience those things again.
Okay, we have time for two more. Chris, and then Brant, we'll wrap it up there.
Chris Knight, catchfence.com. Jimmie, I was wondering your thoughts on Austin Dillon not getting penalized for his retaliation against Cole Custer last week in the NASCAR Xfinity Series race.
Didn't know a thing about it. Sorry. I was on a bike probably somewhere during that race when it happened. I didn't know a thing about it.
Brant?
Brant James, USA Today Sports. There's been a lot of speculation, a lot in the news about the potential of restrictor plates coming to Indy, maybe in the future, maybe if it works out in the Xfinity Series, maybe at some other tracks. Just want to get your opinion on how you think that would affect racing. Is it a good idea, right direction? Your thoughts?
Yeah, it's the first I've heard about it. I don't see really any upside to it. You know, we're out of the gas so long there in brake for 2 of the 4 corners. I don't see how it's going to help. I mean, I guess it would put a bit more of an emphasis on the draft down the straight. But the corners are so challenging. I'm not confident we'll create the competitive passes that I assume they're looking for. You know, you need multiple lanes to create passes, and that track just doesn't provide that. So I think taking horsepower away, you know, if you're held up in the turn, less power, the less of an opportunity you have to run up on somebody and to make a pass on one of those long straightaways. So I would fear that it would go the other direction. And again, this is all speculation. It's the first I heard about it, but I assume it's to create more passing because it is tough to pass there. I just don't know how we're going to do it.
What do you think would create more passing?
Well, I think the bogey and what's been looked at in the conversations I've had is just how entertaining the Indy 500 is. But when you look at the horsepower to downforce ratio of an open wheel car, those guys easily run flat around the track. And when you run flat, you can use the draft and slingshot and things like that. When you're out of the gas for 5, 6, 7 seconds and go back to the throttle and there's no recovery, no response, you're never going to pull up. And that's my fear. If it was a very big track with lots of lanes, you know, and you could easily run flat in multiple lanes, I think it would give you that chance to make a pass on the straight. But as soon as what will happen is the leader can run more throttle than everyone else, and it's just gonna compound and be worse the further back you go and make it even harder to pass, I think.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Jimmie. Good luck this weekend.
Thanks.
All right, we'll continue with the driver of the number 19 Subway Toyota, Daniel Suarez, coming off a 7th place finish at Phoenix. He finished 4th at the Xfinity race here at Auto Club Speedway last year. And of course, you got your first win at Michigan, 2-mile track, somewhat similar, I would imagine. You can tell me differently, of course. But first off, kind of a little bit of a new look for you in your car this weekend. I like that hat, by the way. Tell us about the Subway sponsorship.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. You know, you love the hat. A lot of people out there, they love the fire suit. I love the paint scheme of the car. I think the car looks awesome. Honestly, I haven't been with someone that say, hey, I don't really like the 19 Subway Toyota Camry this weekend because that thing looks awesome. I'm really excited to have Subway on board for this weekend, the first race of 4 races for this 2017 season. And not just that, in the last few weeks, we filmed a national commercial with them that is going to start air on TV this coming Sunday, the same day than our first race together. And I'm super excited about that as well. Yesterday was the first time I was able to see the final version of the commercial, and it turned out great. So super excited about that as well.
Awesome. Well, looking forward to that. Any questions for Daniel? We'll start right here in the middle.
Kathy Brown, pitting outside the box. You kind of touched on the commercial aspect that you're doing for Subway. Did you also film one in Spanish for your Spanish-speaking fans?
I did, and actually, I spent a lot of hours trying to do my lines right in English, and in Spanish, I spent 10 minutes. so I thought that was pretty funny. That definitely took me a lot of work to mix my lines right in English and in Spanish. I was right on the point right away, obviously. So I was going to feel bad if it wasn't that way. But yeah, we did some in Spanish as well.
Awesome. We'll go Wolfgang, then Holly.
Daniel, Mexican border is not so far away from here. How is the media coverage, especially, you're running in the top category of NASCAR? Is there regularly live coverage of the races in your home country?
Oh yeah, and it's been like that for the last 15 years or more. I remember being a kid watching all the NASCAR races with my dad on Sundays and Saturdays. So yeah, my family actually, they live in Mexico, and they are able to watch a race on live every single weekend. Any race, any national race. So I'm really very happy for that. They have that option to do it. And as well, overall, just super excited right now to be here in the West Coast. These 3 races in the West Coast, maybe is one of the most fun part that I have of the season. Being in Vegas, in Phoenix, and now here in California, 3 really good racetracks, and the fans, man. I just feel like I have a lot of support. It's amazing, how the fans support their own drivers, and obviously the Latin American fan base here is pretty big, and every time that I get to see flags and a lot of support in the grandstands, obviously I know who are there supporting. So very happy for that, and looking forward to have another good strong run this weekend.
Great, Holly.
Hi, Daniel. Holly Kane, NASCAR.com. This week, the NASCAR Mexico Series begins, and it starts in your hometown, as a matter of fact. Looking back now from where you sit as a Cup driver, what did it mean to you for your participation and to race in that series when you look back now?
Yeah, it's funny because couple days ago, one of my friends asked me, those friends that you don't really talk a lot to them, they asked me, "Hey, Daniel, are you going to be racing the NASCAR Mexico Series in Monterey?" I say, I don't think so. I think I have something bigger to do in California. But yeah, I'm very happy that they are starting the season this coming Sunday as well in my hometown. I think it's going to be very, very cool for them. But I think I'm having even more fun now here with you guys. So looking forward to that as well.
Dani, ¿cómo estás? Buenos días. Pregunta en español, si puedes también contestarla en inglés para la prensa. Felicidades. ¿Y qué es lo que más te gusta de correr en este autódromo, en el Autoclub Speedway?
Pues bueno, lo que más me gusta de correr aquí en el Autoclub Speedway es que tienes muchas opciones. Es una pista, yo creo que de las más anchas en las que corremos en todo el año, y tienes muchas opciones. Puedes correr la parte de abajo, en la parte del medio, en la parte de arriba. Los arranques aquí, yo creo que es una de las pocas pistas en las cuales vemos 3, 4 líneas sin ningún problema, y es una pista divertida. Y una de las mejores cosas, como ya lo mencioné, los fans. Yo creo que los fans es algo que yo tengo la fortuna obviamente de ser mexicano, de tener muchos fans aquí en el West Coast en general, y obviamente aquí en California.
Brett, right next to you. Who is the mic? Can you bring the mic just up here? Oh, Chris, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Chris and Brent. Go ahead.
Chris Knight, CatchFence.com. Daniel, last weekend in Phoenix, you said you still had a long ways to go, but you took a major step towards that with a top 10 finish. How important was it for you and the team to get a top 10 finish at Phoenix?
It was very good. I'm still thinking the same way. I think there is a long ways to go still. We have a lot of work to do. I feel like in Phoenix we made some good gains. We learned some good stuff. But there is some stuff out there that we have to still working on and getting better at, and trying to just get faster. Overall, just find more speed as a team. But we're getting there. Definitely to have a good result like that top 10 is a good boost to keep moving forward and keep pushing. So hopefully that can be the first one of many of this year.
Robbie Mays, MRN. Daniel, next week we go to Martinsville, the first real short track of the season. You've got experience there in the truck series, 4 starts, 2 top 10s. Moving into Martinsville in the Cup car next week, you know, what are your expectations? What do you think you need to work on? And just your overall thoughts about going to Martinsville for the first time in a Cup car?
Well, I think the Cup car is going to be way, way different than the truck. You know, like you just mentioned, I have ride the truck there a couple times, and it's been a lot of fun, but definitely it's still long things that I have to get better at. It's one of those racetracks that I feel like I need to be better at, and hopefully I can do my homework right and ask my teammates, you know, for some advice and just trying to be competitive. It's one of the racers that track position is super important. So hopefully we can have good track position, and I learn as much as I can.
We'll wrap it up with Brian James.
Brian James, USA Today Sports. Whatever happened with that giant lizard that looked like it was chasing you through the desert? I never saw that second video.
Well, that thing was coming to me. It was fun, you know. Phoenix overall is a place I really liked a lot to race and to go out there to have fun and hiking, and that I was filming that thing, and then slowly was coming to me, and it was doing push-ups in one of the in part of the video as well. So overall, I had a lot of fun, you know, hiking with my team, with my guys, and it was a good day of a good hot day actually, and I feel like it was fun doing that with my guys.
It just moved on. It didn't spring at you.
Oh no, I did not. I did not, but well, it was coming close. It was coming close, and I said, man, this thing is getting pretty close. Let's see what happened then. But no, nothing happened. She was my friend, I guess.
All right. Well, thank you, Daniel. Good luck this weekend, and congrats on the new sponsorship. Looks good.
Thank you, guys.
Good morning, everybody. How are you? Waking up? The end of the West Coast swing. A little bit different look here for our presser today. Good morning. I'm Jimmie Little, and I want to thank all of you for being here. Miss Danica Patrick is getting comfortable.
Yeah, this head thing moved down, and it gave me a really great back support, actually. I actually thought it was a massage chair for a second.
Well, this is a big day for Aspen Dental. They're very excited about their announcement with NASCAR, and obviously joining us, Danica Patrick. She's been sponsored by Aspen Dental for almost 4 years now, and they've been a sponsor of Stewart-Haas Racing for over 6 years. So Danica, good to see you this morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
And as well, Aspen Dental dentist, Dr. Vincent on the end.
Hi, good morning.
And the ADMI spokesperson, Michelle Vaith.
Good
To
morning.
my right. And our NASCAR representative. It's good to see you.
Are you comfortable?
Most comfortable dentist chair I've ever been in.
This is, I was going to say, this
Little
was
different,
definitely
I
a
know.
first for you.
It's definitely a first.
Vice President Business Development for NASCAR, we welcome Chad Siegler. So Chad, we'll kick things off with you. If you could tell us a little bit about what we're all doing here and why NASCAR suddenly is involved with Aspen Dental.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jamie. And I second Danica. This is the most comfortable press release. All my colleagues are going to be very jealous of this this announcement. But no, we're very excited. Anytime from the NASCAR side that we're able to sit and watch a sponsor grow in the sport, which we've seen with Aspen Dental, whether it's from the last 6 years of growth, what they've done this year. But for us, we're excited to welcome them on board as part of the NASCAR family as the official dentist of NASCAR. So very exciting day for us. When we go back, a few months ago when we started having these discussions with the team at Aspen Dental, the thing for us that was very obvious was the passion that this team has for dental health and wellness, dental health, not only to just their patients, you look at just the American public, and then it just meshed with what we felt was really important. We're always wanting to tell that story of health and wellness to the NASCAR fan. So a lot of synergies there, and we're just, again, very excited. I know Michelle and Danica are going to talk a little bit about the initiative itself, but again, I just want to say we're excited to welcome you guys aboard and part of the NASCAR family's official dentist.
Thank you very much, Chad. So for Danica, Aspen Dental, lead sponsor this year for double-digit races, so it's good to see you guys step up. You're on the car more often, so that's a familiar face with Danica, obviously. But what does it mean to you, Danica, to be part of this initiative and to see a sponsor of your own go on another level nationally?
It's always rewarding. It always feels good. It always makes me excited for the future, because the more that a company invests into me and everything around it, the more you root yourself and the more benefit you get then. If you don't do anything, if you don't activate, it is probably going to run its course for the contract you've signed. But beyond that, it tends to not go on. So it always makes me very, very happy and positive to see a company rooting themselves. And one thing's for sure about Aspen Dental is that with NASCAR and a push to put emphasis on health and wellness, that is something that Aspen has had a passion for since I first met them. And we started with the Healthy Mouth movement, and now we're moving forward with the Get Started campaign to get to the dentist. I think they said of the 75, there's 75 million NASCAR fans, and 150 million people didn't go to the dentist last year. So there's an incredible pool of people that probably didn't go to the dentist here at the racetrack or watching at home. So Get Started is a really simple, powerful campaign to get people to get to the dentist. So here we go.
Definitely want to make it easier for people who have trepidation going to the dentist, and that's what they're doing here. And Dr. Vincent, I'll pass it over to you. You've seen lives changed by people just taking that first step and getting started. Being a dentist yourself, talk about the importance of this movement, especially getting NASCAR fans involved.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as dentists, we get it. It's overwhelming to come and see us. You know, there are a lot of factors that prevent people that could go to the dentist. It could be money. You know, when patients come, it's usually just not one appointment. It's a series of appointments that they have to go to, and that could be a little bit intimidating. And, you know, like Danica was saying, 150 million people didn't go to the dentist last year. So we really want to try and cut that number down. So once patients get started and take that first step, you know, it's giving them a healthier mouth and overall leading them to better health, and that's really important. So, I mean, think of it this way. The mouth, the oral cavity, is the gateway into our body. So if you think of it in that perspective, you know, that really shines a light on the importance of oral health. So we're just really trying to encourage and motivate patients to take that lead and go ahead and, you know, take the importance in their health care. So it's funny, I had a patient that hadn't been to the dentist in over 10 years, and that is something that is, you know, common to hear, and things happen. Something called life, you know, takes place. And when she came to see me, her priorities were something that were, you know, not concerning for her. Her priorities were taking care of her kids. But, you know, she shared with me when she came to see me, she was embarrassed about the conditions of her teeth, embarrassed to smile, and you know, it really took a big step to come and see me. But we just want, you know, patients to know, we want the NASCAR fans to know that my colleagues and I are committed to seeing you, and we'll go with you every single step of the way throughout the process, and we are just truly committed to making dentistry easier, and that's easier on their time, on their wallet, and just through the whole process of getting health care done.
I have a mini story. I'm always good for something different you won't expect. I have a friend, actually, speaking about just, you know, taking care of yourself and it being the gateway to everything, to your health, your mouth being. I have a friend who, like, fought a little bit of health issues for quite a while and changed her diet a bunch of times, and you know, she just had this like gut feeling that there was something wrong in her mouth, and she had a little like knot on the side of her jaw, and it went on for a long time, and she finally went to the dentist and had them check it out, and she had an infection for a long time, and she had the tooth removed, and her energy level is so much better. So something that didn't really hurt necessarily, like it didn't hurt, she just didn't feel good. you know, you don't know unless you go to the dentist. So these are the kind of things that, you know, I wouldn't say I hear this all the time, and I think it's partly because people are embarrassed, and also people just go on and on without fixing these things. So, you know, I mean, yeah, it could be hormones, yeah, it could be just life, but maybe it's something else. And that's why going to the dentist and taking care of yourself from a top to bottom perspective is so important. So there you go, there's my mini story. And this is someone who takes care of themselves, but you got to get to the dentist to find these problems. She wasn't going to like look in her mouth and figure it out herself. It was just an instinct.
Exactly. And Michelle, so why get involved with NASCAR and use them as a platform?
Sure. I mean, we're not new to NASCAR by any means. As Jamie mentioned before, we have a long-time relationship with Stewart-Haas Racing. We've been with Danica for nearly 4 years at this point. And this whole idea for this partnership was literally born from some very simple conversations that we had at NASCAR's headquarters in Charlotte back in August last summer. And you know, at Aspen Dental folks, we are passionate about oral health. We are passionate about the fact that we believe everyday Americans shouldn't have to live in chronic pain because of poor oral health. And we were sharing some of those statistics with Chad and with his team, and I think it was contagious, right? The enthusiasm. And NASCAR said to us, you know, wow, that's 150 million everyday Americans, and that's our fan base. You know, our fan base is everyday Americans. And so to think that the NASCAR fan base could be so widely affected, whether it's by chronic pain or inflammation due to poor oral health, we just looked at each other and said, let's do something about this, and we're getting started today.
Well, and I love how much fun Aspen Dental has with the Tooth Fairy campaign last year. That was
Tony Stewart in a tutu.
Yes. Who could forget that image? You guys have a lot of fun, but I find it really interesting what you did in Atlanta. You guys actually parked a truck in Victory Lane and invited the garage to come get examined. So we're going to see more of those initiatives.
Yeah, and that truck is called the Mouthmobile, and our Mouthmobile has been in existence for a number of years now. It's basically a cutting-edge, state-of-the-art dentist office on wheels, and we literally put it on a national tour every year. It has 35 stops this year, and up till now, we've been focusing on bringing access to dental care and good oral health to veterans, because many veterans do not have access to dental insurance, and so we bring our Mouthmobile through our partnership with Got Your Six, a veteran organization, 2 different communities so that we can serve those veterans. Now we're also bringing the Mouthmobile to various different places so that we can also serve the NASCAR community.
And that was one of the things that came out when we had our meeting in Charlotte and just started this discussion. You could see the passion from the team at Aspen of just how do we make dental health easy for people? How do we make it easy for them to get over their fears, get engaged, and stuff like the Mouthmobile is a perfect example.
And they've donated over $7.5 million of free oral care with Mouthmobile.
Absolutely.
Which is incredible.
And Aspen Dental continues to grow right now, over 600 locations, 36 states. So it's growing, and it's easy for the NASCAR fan to
I've been
find
to
their local.
Aspen Dental many times, and I can say that it's a very good experience. They get me in and out like that.
So
and a picture at the end.
And a picture at the end. Perfect.
Which I'm ready, because I'm pearly white.
So Danica, tell us a little bit about the initiative and how NASCAR fans could learn more.
The Get Started campaign, like you said, to get started. It's beginning, and people can go to aspendental.com/getstarted. There's a giveaway for Texas Motor Speedway for the second time we go to get a package for that with VIP tickets. So go to the website, learn more about all of it, and get started. It's really a way to facilitate getting to the dentist and really starting that process, because I don't know about you guys, but when I go to the dentist for something or go to the doctor for something, any doctor, I think when everything comes back clear, I'm like, I really need to make sure I go very often, so that you always have that peace of mind of knowing that you've caught everything on the front end if there's a problem. So the hardest thing is to get started, and we all put so many things off because maybe it's not really a pressing priority that day, but how many days can you say that before it becomes one? So so the point is to get started, and most likely everything will be just fine, and all you're going to leave with is like very slippery teeth, and see you in a year.
Love it. So that's aspendental.com/get started. And you can learn more about the company there. You can learn about Get Started, but also, like Danica mentioned, there's going to be videos and photos, fun things, giveaways.
We have a
VIP
commercial coming
packages.
out next week.
Yes.
I just saw it. It's really cute.
I got to see it too. It's pretty funny.
It was actually very fun to shoot it.
Danica, the actress. All right. We'll open this up for questions.
I have a question for you, Michelle. You mentioned the mobile dentist trucks. That means in case a NASCAR fan or a driver or crew chief, etc., has teeth pain, she or he can get treatment in this truck?
Exactly. What we did in Atlanta was we set it up in the days leading up to the race, and it was available to anyone in the NASCAR family. So if you were a crew chief, I think the entire track security team went through as well. And, the response was just phenomenal. I think we actually, there was even more demand than we could see in the time that we allotted. So, we'll have to think about that as we bring it to future tracks. But yes, we very much want to be able to serve the NASCAR community and the family.
That might be where I start getting my teeth cleaning.
Good, yeah, it'd be convenient, huh?
You put a special VIP chair in,
There
put
you
this
go.
one in.
There you go.
I have an additional question. As far as I understand, Aspen Dental is not manufacturing or producing products like toothpaste or toothbrush like that?
That's correct.
Yeah, but are you in touch with toothpaste manufacturers and give them advice? What is important when they launch a new toothpaste, for example? Research?
No, I mean, we're really focused on patient care at the end of the day. Aspen Dental practices are squarely focused on serving the patients that they see day in and day out. At ADMI, where I work, we provide business services that help support, those Aspen Dental offices and practices that are out there seeing those patients all day long. So that's where our focus is.
Kathy Brown, Pitting Outside the Box, over here. You had stated that you're in, you have 600 locations and you're in 36 different states. So with Southern California being such a large market with NASCAR fans and especially Danica Patrick fans, what are your plans about expanding in Southern California?
Well, we're not in California at all right now. We are not. Yeah, we are not in California as a state. And that's not because we don't want to be in California. We open, on average, we open a new dental practice every 5 days. And this particular year, we were entering into 2 new states. So, as we continue to grow, I would imagine California would be on the plan, but currently we're not in California.
You do have 4 really cool dentist chairs in California.
We sure do.
You know what I love about so many locations, too? I'm sorry I just keep chiming in, but it's the things that I appreciate. I've moved so many times, and so when I first partnered with them, I was like, so if I moved, would my, records transfer? And they do. You could get your, so people move all the time, and the hardest thing to do sometimes is to find a new place to go. So it can make that seem a lot easier, too.
Bob Pockris.
Bob Pockris, ESPN. I have a sponsor question for Michelle, racing question from Danica. Michelle, what do you get out of this NASCAR deal that you don't get out of the team deal?
Honestly, we get the amplification of our voice about this issue. So, we have a long history, as I mentioned before, about addressing unmet dental health needs out in the community. And yes, we've been focused on serving the veteran population for a number of years now. One thing we do know is the need is greater than even the veteran community. As great as the need is in the veteran community, the need is great everywhere. And NASCAR offers us a tremendous platform and, a really loud voice to add to ours, where we can just have really amplify that powerful message that it is really easy to take a simple step and get started so that you don't have to, or someone doesn't have to live in chronic pain.
And for Danica, you were fined a couple years ago for a wreck in Gilland under caution, and last week Austin Dillon wrecked somebody under caution and didn't get fined. I was curious if That upsets
Give me
you?
my money back.
Right, so does that upset you, and does it
I also
open the
got
door?
fined here last year for Casey Kane right rearing me on the front straightaway at 215 miles an hour, and I gave him this sign, and I got fined for that too. So I think NASCAR makes a really big mistake of fining for some stuff, because especially like something that happens in the car, because it makes for good TV. Just like fights and all that stuff. We can handle it. I think it's a mistake. I might be speaking too much, but I personally, I mean, I've been fined a few times, and I think that it makes for good TV, and I think that we handle it out on the track ourselves.
So you like the fact that they haven't fined people the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, I'd rather that be the standard. I mean, what does that really do?
I don't know.
I mean, what does it really do? I mean, I'm not going to not go on vacation, you know? I would actually rather know what it did. I would actually love to see, like, the playground that got built for it, or homeless people that got food. I would like to see actually what the money does for fines, because it's supposed to go to charity, right? Yeah. So what does it really do? I would like to see that.
Any other questions? Hey, Holly.
Hi. Hey, Danica. Holly Kane, NASCAR.com. I actually wanted to ask you a question about racing, and certainly your thoughts about racing here, but also the short tracks coming up. That's been a place that you've fared well, and we've spoken in the past, and you've been like, yeah, it doesn't totally make sense. You would think because of your background, you know, maybe some of the bigger tracks, but if you could just speak about the short tracks coming up too.
I think what happens at the short tracks for me is that, you know, while I have spent a lot of time over 200 miles an hour in an Indy car, it's more traditional passing on short tracks. So that falls more into the road course background of setting the pass up, timing it right, getting inside of them, you know, all the things that it takes, where on a mile and a half or a bigger track, you just carry momentum through the corner, and you'll be 2, 3, 4 wide, and it's all fine. So I think that's what happens with the short tracks, especially the ones where where you run the bottom, like a Martinsville. You know, then I think to like a Bristol, and I have had some good results at Bristol and some good races going, but we do run at the top. So, you know, I think anytime where there's a traditional pass being made, for me, it's familiar and it's comfortable. And I think usually when that's the case too, it requires you to be disciplined to hit the line every time. So something else that I think plays into my strengths is the discipline and the focus of not making the mistakes. I think that helps me too. So, but then again, you know, I've had great races at Fontana. I've actually had it's probably one of my better tracks. I feel like there's been a lot of races where I've been in the top 15 and, you know, getting stronger as the race goes. So, you know, hopefully this weekend's a good race for me at Fontana. I would love to do that in the Aspen car, and love to just have a good race. I mean, at the end of the day, what I said at the beginning of the year is that I want to do this and I want to have fun, and when you do well, you have fun. So hopefully it's a good race.
Anybody else? We're going to ask Danica to sign the hood now. We'll have a little
signature or autograph. They're different.
Is there a difference for you,
Yeah,
ma'am?
there is.
Is there?
One's the legal one, and then this one's
The legible and
Yeah,
the
yeah.
illegible.
Actually, the signature was my old autograph.
Good morning, everyone. We're going to continue with our media availabilities this morning. We've now been joined by Chase Elliott, driver of the number 24 NAPA Chevrolet. And Chase, welcome back to Auto Club Speedway. I know you stayed out, I believe, out west during a little bit of this West Coast swing. So is anything fun you've been able to do while you've been out here? And kind of give everybody a recap before we kind of officially close. NASCAR goes west.
Yeah, it's been fun. We've really enjoyed our time. I've always enjoyed this West Coast swing. I think it's a great time of year to do this, kind of get out away from the weather at home and get out here to this nice weather that we've seen the past 3 weeks. Hopefully that continues throughout the weekend. We spent a lot of time in Colorado between Phoenix and this weekend with with Alan and a couple of the guys. So it was a fun week, and happy to be here and looking forward to getting going.
All right. we'll go ahead and open for questions. For Chase, if you have one, please raise your hand and state your affiliation, and we'll start up front with Claire. Anybody have a microphone? Oh, perfect. Here they come, Claire.
I can hear you.
Claire B. Langs. Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. This racetrack is so different, and you only come here once a year, and you're so close to winning. What sorts of things do you think about when you think about racing on this track?
This is such a cool place to come. Definitely a racetrack that lends a lot of options from the driver's perspective. You know, the surface is in its prime, I feel like, here with the way it is and the way the you know, the famous seams are here at this racetrack that everybody always talks about. So, you know, it was very racy last year. There was a lot of different lanes, a lot of grip that you could find in random various places. So I hope that that's the case again this season. But such a fun place. I've really enjoyed coming here the past 3 years. One of those places that you only come once a year, but only coming once a year to some of these places is good because I think you make the most of it that one time, and less is more. So I'm going to have a lot of fun with it this weekend. Hopefully we can get our car dialed in and try to have a good run on Sunday.
All right. Additional questions? Go ahead, Wolfgang.
Chase, you just mentioned you come here only one time a year. Nevertheless, I think from the previous years, also when you run Xfinity, we have a lot of data. In principle, can you not just look in your data of the previous years and set the car up like it was last year or the year before?
Yeah, you can. I mean, you can look back at some of the things. I mean, you're always going to carry trends from year to year from a setup perspective, but you're never going to be the exact same no matter what, or no matter how good you were a year ago. If you're not progressing or trying to get better, you're not going to be any better. So, you know, a lot of times you can fall into a bit of a trap when you run good somewhere, and then you come back with the same thing thinking that, oh, that was so good. You know, even just a couple months ago, like you look at some of the races that we go to in the midsummer months that are, you know, only 3 or 4 weeks apart, such as the Pocono races or the Michigan races. If you're not changing things or trying to get better between those 2 races, you're not going to run as good, and that's just the facts. So this place is the same way, and having a year in between, obviously a lot has changed since last year. A lot of rule changes. NASCAR's cracked down on some of the things that a lot of guys were doing over the off season, took some of that stuff away, and you got to find new ways to try to go fast.
All right, go ahead.
Robbie Mays, MRN. 2 questions for you, Chase. Number one, stage racing. Coming into the season, I know you and Alan probably had a lot to talk about as far as strategy goes. So far through 4 races, are you seeing that strategy play out the way you thought it would? Has it been different for you? And second question is going to Martinsville next week. A little bit of experience there in the truck and the Cup car. What are your thoughts going to Martinsville?
Yeah, I mean, as far as the stage racing goes, I mean, I think it's added a cool element to the races, and the big thing is it lends an opportunity to get some points that go towards the championship, and I think that's the most important thing. That's the biggest thing we talked about, you know, over the off season was just, you know, there's a lot of points to be gained by winning those stages throughout the season that could give you a huge advantage once the end of the season, the last 10 start, you know. So I think that's the biggest thing with the stage races. Glad we could have a stage win last week at Phoenix this early in the year, which is awesome. I know it's just a point, but a point can go a long way, and hopefully we can get some more of those stage wins that can add up pretty quickly. There's a lot of stages to be had throughout the season, so everybody's focusing on those, and everybody's always trying very hard, so I don't think it's going to change the racing per se. It might change some strategy, but we're all trying as hard as we can last year, the year before, or whenever. So I don't think it's fair to think that that's just going to magically make us try harder. I think we're already trying pretty hard. But as far as Martinsville goes, obviously it's no secret that place has been a struggle for me. So I am looking forward to getting back. I do feel like I made some gains personally, and I do think that, you know, myself and Alan and our team, we worked in a better direction for me at Martinsville, and you know, Jeff is so good there, and we tried to really show up in the spring race last year, just like Jeff raced the fall. I tried to talk to him and do things exactly like I listened, you know, and like I thought I could pick up from him, and it just didn't work out that way. So I think for me, we have some different techniques and some of the things that we do differently, and for whatever reason, I haven't been able to copy what he does at that racetrack. I wish I could because he obviously has won a lot there. So that was the reasoning in running the truck race last fall, was just to try to get some more experience. And plan on running the truck race again next weekend, at Martinsville with GMS Racing. So I'm looking forward to getting some more time, and hopefully that'll help for Sunday. So just trying to make small gains at places to struggle, and just for whatever reason, just hadn't figured it out. So I'm excited to go give it another shot.
Holly, go ahead.
Holly Kane, NASCAR.com. Hi, Chase. I wanted to ask you a little bit. Recently, with yourself, with Kyle Larson, Ryan Blaney, younger drivers, you guys are already, started off this season challenging for the wins, making a huge statement in terms of the championship. There's really been no easing into it for you guys this year. You are there, you're on it, and you're the guys. You've really made the field of contenders, doubled in size, what we would expect every week. Could you just talk about maybe how it feels for you as a young driver and how everyone seems to really be stepping on it right from the get-go this year?
Yeah, I think it's really cool to see. I've enjoyed racing with both of those guys throughout the season. I feel like I think a lot of that, I can't say that myself, I don't know about them, but I can't speak for them. But for me, I've just tried to take what I learned last year, try to improve on that and do some things better. But I think the big thing is we all have really fast cars to drive right now, and that sure does make it a lot easier to run up front and contend and be there each week. So, I think from our organization at Hendrick, I think Ganassi's the same way, and obviously Penske's been very strong here to start the season. With Brad's win in Atlanta and Kyle's run, he's run well every week, I guess. So yeah, I think it's just having fast cars obviously makes that a lot easier. And I know we're all trying hard and we're trying to improve, but our teams did a good job. I know mine did for sure of throughout the off season, trying to find new things, new items to try to go fast. And I think that's the biggest thing that allows us to have good runs, is just having good cars to drive.
Does it feel any differently being up at the top of the point standings versus just having a great run every so often, having you guys ramp up?
Yeah, it's awesome. I hope, obviously it's really early in the season, so it's hard to read into that a whole lot because, the regular season points are just not, it's just not as important as they once were. And I think those, as I mentioned a minute ago, those championship points that you can earn throughout the season with a stage win or a race win are going to be far more important than where you stack up on a weekly, regular season points basis. But I would much rather be towards the top of that than towards the bottom. So I think if we can continue to have strong runs, hopefully we can stay there and try to move forward and hopefully pick up some positions and try to stay there as long as possible. But most importantly, try to get into the playoffs here at the end of the year and be strong when that rolls around, if we can do that, because that's the most important thing.
All right, we'll go back to Moran.
Chase, Dale Jr. was tweeting earlier, maybe today or yesterday, and he said your confidence is up and he bets you can win 4 races this year. What do you say to Dale Jr. about that?
I hope Dale's right. That's all I know. That's awesome. I appreciate the kind words for sure. I think we've learned a lot throughout the season last year, and I think as a group and as an organization, we fired off well this year. Not perfect, but good, and I think we have room to improve. But no, I appreciate the kind words. I hope Dale's right. That's all I have to say about that.
All right. Any final questions for Chase? All right, Chase, we wish you the best of luck this weekend.
Okay.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
All right, good morning, everyone. We're going to continue with our availabilities this morning with Ryan Reed. And Ryan, it's always nice to come back to California, a place that obviously you're very familiar with. Talk a little bit about what it means to you to be able to race in your home state, but then also if you've had the opportunity to do, I think you've had some fun things this week. I've seen you on social media, a couple different places. So just get everyone a kind of a quick recap of what you've been able to do during this NASCAR Goes West swing.
I think the whole NASCAR Goes West swing has been awesome. I think over the last few years you've seen NASCAR really push it out and fans get excited about it. But for me, the West Coast being home for me is really, really cool. I get to see a lot of friends and family, especially when we come here to Fontana. But this week they kept me busy. Tuesday I went and toured the Miller Coors facility in Colorado, and that was unbelievable. They took good care of me. It's the first appearance I've ever got to drink beer at, so that was cool. And it was just a really cool way to spend a travel day on Tuesday heading out here. Wednesday, I actually went to a school in Rancho Cucamonga, and that was really cool. Got to hang out with kids, talk about racing, and you know, I think for me you know, some of the coolest things that I've gotten to do, appearances I've got to do, are hospital visits and schools and hang out with kids and talk about pursuing your dreams and racing, and or you know, and for me they were racing, or you know, I met a kid with type 1 diabetes, and she was really excited, so that was cool. Anytime I get to meet a fellow type 1 diabetic, it's really neat and share a lot of experiences, so that was cool. And had a really good week, and I got to see a lot of family. Got to hang out with people that I don't get to see but once or twice a year, so it's been a good week.
All right, we'll go ahead and take questions now for Ryan. If you have one, just please raise your hand and we'll get a microphone to you, and we'll start up front with Wolfgang.
Wolfgang Monser from Germany, Ranchport Press Agency. Ryan, a technical question. Before you go to a racetrack, does Rouge Fenway or Ford has a simulator program where you can prepare before you approach with your race car as a racetrack?
Yeah, Ford built a pretty state-of-the-art simulator. I think most manufacturers have them now, but Ford built theirs a couple years ago, and I've been on that quite a bit. It's not a weekly thing. It's not something that every week you have, you know, Wednesday at 11 o'clock where you go prepare. It's not quite like that. But you may go, you know, do 4 or 5 tracks in one day, and you know, you'll be in the simulator for 6 or 7 hours. And then, you know, like I said, do 4 or 5 tracks, go through a bunch of stuff, and then 2 months later you go in and do another 4 or 5 tracks, you know. So, and then sometimes we go in and work on one specific problem or one specific area that you feel like you need to work on. So it just depends. You know, I think for me, when I try and really ask for it is the tracks that I struggle at. So, you know, I feel like I can get a lot better at Bristol and Dover. So those are the tracks that I always push really hard to get on and spend as much time on there as possible. I feel like any laps around those places I can get will help. So it's really cool, and it's great to see Ford make that investment into the sport, and just one more tool to be able to help us.
All right, additional questions for Ryan? Okay, if we can get a microphone, please.
Hey Ryan, this is Keith from San Diego Tribune. Nice seeing you again. Hey, tell me about the track here, and what's it gonna be like for you out there tomorrow when you're racing, and does it matter where you start to win this thing?
I do think that qualifying matters here. I think because tires are such a, not necessarily an issue, because I love that we, you know, are able to have such, you know, tire wear and stuff like that, but tire management's key around this place. So if you can start up front, manage your day a little better, and really kind of just be able to conserve tires from the word go, it's going to be big. So I think qualifying, we definitely try and put an emphasis on that around this place. But this place is awesome. It's one of my, if not my favorite track, one of my favorite tracks. The style of racing here, where you can run all the way down by the grass or all the way up at the boards, running the wall, is a lot of fun. And it changes throughout a run. So I think that for me, some of my favorite racetracks are where, you know, you may start a run, you know, run on the bottom and then move up, or you just got to kind of search for grip all day. I think it makes a racetrack really fun, makes it fun to watch, because throughout a run you'll see a guy, you know, maybe, you know, a guy that's dominant early in a run fades later in the run. So I think that's what creates passing and stuff like that. So this track really promotes that, I feel like, and it's just a great racetrack, and also it's home for me. So I get to have, you know, 100 friends and family in the stands that are cheering me on. Makes a little pressure.
All right, we'll go to Chris next. Go ahead.
ChrisKnightCatchfans.com. Ryan, with the win at Daytona, I was just curious how concentrated is your team on the chase in the Xfinity Series? Have you guys started looking towards, even though it's so far away, have you guys started to get ready for that, or are you guys just focused on going out there and getting more wins and more top 10 finishes?
They're always going for a win. You know, I think we definitely want to rack them up, you know, as many as we can get, but also, too, we know we're in a unique position to be locked into the chase, and if we want to go try something, you know, we're headed Phoenix last weekend. You know, we got to take a lot of notes, and really, I didn't think we were that good, so we got to, you know, learn from that and say, okay, in the chase, we need to be better. But also, too, we're in a great position to where we can go for wins, but if we don't get the win that day, if we struggle, there's still a great amount of confidence with our team. You know, we are locked in. We know that we started the year off really strong, backed up our win with the top 10 at Vegas, and so we're just a lot of confidence right now, having a ton of fun with all the guys, and just enjoying it, because it's tough to get a win in the Xfinity Series, as we all know, with racing against Cup guys on a lot of weeks, and so can be few and far between. And when you do get a win and you do get locked in, enjoy it, and hopefully we have more wins to come in the near future. And I'd love to get my first win at my home track here at Fontana.
All right. Any final questions for Ryan before we wrap up? Okay, we'll take one final question.
You're talking about tire management and grip and everything. So how key is it to you communicating with the pit box and everything to make sure everything's right when you come in to get change everything on your stops?
Oh, it's huge. I felt like we had a top 10 for sure, but maybe a top 5 day going here last year. Had one of probably the best race car I've ever had in my career. If there's one race I could redo, it would be that one from a year ago. And we had a pit road penalty, and cost us our day. Got chopped a lap down and never got to overcome it. So I think we've all seen in this sport in the last few years, pit stops become more and more and more important. And there's no room for error. So I've got to be on top of my game and hit pit road perfect and execute perfectly. And my guys have to as well. And my crew chief's got to make good calls on top of the box. So. If we go in there and have a no-mistake day tomorrow, I think we have we'll have a good day. And then if we are really on top of it this weekend, we can contend for a win. So I'm really excited to be here and excited to get back on track here.
All right, Ryan, we thank you for your time this morning. Wish you the best of luck this weekend.
Thanks, guys.
All right, we'll wrap up the morning session of availabilities with Cole Custer, driver of the number 00 HAAS Automation Ford for Stewart Haas Racing. Cole is from nearby Ladera Ranch, California. Did I pronounce that right? All right. It's about an hour away from the track, so I'm sure you're happy to be home and looking forward to this some home cooking this weekend. Talk about this being back home and racing here.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I've never raced here before, so it's going to be exciting just getting on the track and for a hometown feeling. So that'll be cool. And I think we've had some pretty solid HAAS Automation Mustangs to start the year off. Every race, I feel like we finished top 10, like been a good enough car for a top 10. It's just hopefully we can start out good this week and have a solid race.
Chris?
ChrisKnightCatchfence.com. Right, or Cole, I was just curious how'd your meeting go with NASCAR this morning with Austin, and are you okay with him not getting fined?
Yeah, it went really good. I mean, we both have things that we wish we would have done different, I think, in the moment. So it is what it is, and we'll just try and move on from it.
Wolfgang?
Hi, Cole. Welcome home. Kathy Brown pitting outside the box. Nice to finally meet you in person. When we spoke in December, you had said that you were looking forward to coming back to Auto Club since you had never raced here before. Now having some races under your belt in the Xfinity Series car, do you have anything that you can now bring to Auto Club racing here this weekend? And another side question, are you planning on going to Irwindale Speedway tomorrow night since it's kind of your home track?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things translate from track to track, just especially on your mile-and-a-half races for here. So I think we've been pretty solid on those races, so we're looking forward to seeing what we have unloading here. I think we should be pretty good. We're pretty confident of it's just probably getting me used to the track and everything because I've never been here before. But I don't have any plans to go to Irwindale tonight. I wish. We've been pretty busy, but if I can definitely try and get over there, I will.
Wolfgang?
Yeah, Cole, you said you never raced here before. Also, you're in a different car, Xfinity car. Is there any help from your Monster Energy Cup driver colleagues?
Yep, I talked to Kevin Harvick this morning and tried to get as much as I could from him because he's definitely one of the best here. So that'll definitely help me a ton. I feel like he's going to help me a ton just getting first laps on the track. I'll know kind of where I want to be.
Jerry and then Claire.
Jerry Jordan, KickingTheTires.net and Performance Racing Network. Go back to last week real quick and then to this week. Obviously, you admitted last week you made a mistake. What was going through your mind at that time? And then how much anxiety did you have leading up to this week, knowing that you were going to have to meet with NASCAR? I mean, you've got a few guys in your team that have had those meetings before, so I think they may have been able to give you some encouragement.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much I got a pretty good run off of 4, and I probably got in a half car length too deep, and then the second I hit the brakes, back end just got really light and couldn't hit the brakes anymore because it's trying to come around. So I just got in there way too deep and took him out pretty much. I mean, it was a mistake, and I wish I didn't do it. But and I didn't have too much anxiety coming into it because I didn't think we were on bad terms really. But just with what he said on Twitter and everything, but yeah, I wasn't too nervous about it really. It went fairly well.
You go to some of the other SHR guys and say, hey, what's this going to be like?
Not really. I mean, I've been in the NASCAR hauler before, so it's not a new thing.
Sirius XM NASCAR Radio, Claire B. Lang. When you have a meeting like that, and it's just par for the course, I mean, it happens in various people's careers, nothing magical and new, but they don't really tell us a lot of what happens in the hauler. Do they have you two converse? You know, you guys never really did sort of fight it out verbally. It's like you kind of got along at the end of the whole thing. But what do they have you do?
It depends on the situation, I think. For that situation, I mean, we both felt like we got along pretty well, and weren't on bad terms really that much, so we talked a little bit about it, just said how we messed up and everything. I mean, if it's a pretty bad situation, sometimes you just sit there and say nothing, but, I mean, it just depends.
Did you shake hands or something at the end?
Yeah, we did. So.
And we'll wrap it up with Holly.
I was kind of going to ask you something along the same lines, Cole, but you're very young. I mean, is this new to you to get in trouble or have these kind of incidents growing up in school? Were you, you know, a very good boy? And I mean, how is this for your personality, and what's it like to, you know, have to go through it, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely new. I mean, I haven't been there too often, but I've been there before, so it's not too difficult really to, I don't know, looking forward to it. I mean, it's just another one of those things. Cool. I don't know.
All right, Cole. Well, thank you so much for coming in, and
Thank you.
good luck this weekend.
Thanks.